88, almost every election since 1988. Right now, it looks like there's a big crack. Michigan, right here, this is really big for Donald Trump. Saginaw, Michigan. It's an area that, we have a very easy comparison. Back in 2020, Joe Biden won it. This time it's Donald Trump. And if he does that in Michigan, it's a really good sign for him. And, we're still early in the night, but when we go back to see path to 270, here's where we are live right now. Kamala Harris only has a couple of ways to get there. Not surprise you, Pennsylvania is top of the list for her.
Well, I was going to say, can you play that out for us? What can we do a what-if scenario right now? So what if Harris were to take Pennsylvania, 2 out of the 3 of the blue wall? What else does she need?
So if she takes Pennsylvania, that puts her at 219 electoral votes in here. I'm going to put the numbers for folks at home can see just what we're working with here. We've got to look at this. Virginia, we expected to call this much earlier tonight. Let's assume that goes to her. Minnesota as well. It's been Democratic for nearly 50 years now. Then it's a toss-up. We got 4 states, Sun Belt here. They've both done a lot of events here. We'll give New Mexico. That's also one we expect to go to Harris. But comes down to North Carolina, comes down to Georgia, Arizona. It's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, she's short. She's at 2 of 47. You got to get to 270 to win it all. All right, Chuck, thank you so much. I want to turn to Ryan Nobles, who's been with us. And Ryan, you cover Capitol Hill regularly. It's your Monday through Friday beat. Thank you for being here with us, by the way, on the graveyard shift. We appreciate it, although I think there's still a lot of people out there watching. This is so tight in the presidential race. How could that impact the numbers we were just showing for Senate and House? Let's pop the Senate back up again if we can. Right now at this hour, I think we said that Republicans have had a net gain of 1. Right. It's not quite enough, but we're still waiting for some races.
And, Kate, when we talk about the balance of power in Congress, of the 3 big things we're watching tonight, right? The presidential race, the balance of power in the Senate, the balance of power in the House of Representatives. What we thought would play out in the Senate was the easiest to predict just because of the map that we stand in the race for president. Let's take a look at the all-important battleground states that we've been watching all night, and we are going to begin in Pennsylvania. And that's where we see a race that is too early to call. Right now, Donald Trump has a slight edge over Kamala Harris, but it is too early to call. Moving on now, in North Carolina. This race is too close to call. Donald Trump with the edge, about 264,000 votes ahead, 264,000 votes ahead of Kamala Harris, but not ready to call that race yet. It's also too close to call in Georgia. Trump with the edge, about 304,000 votes, but we are not ready to pick a winner. And in Arizona, the 11 electoral votes there, it's a battleground state, 99% of the vote in, still too early to call there. Arizona crucial for Kamala Harris in this particular race. And in Virginia, this is a state that we expected to call early for the Democrats. But right now, still too close to call. Kamala Harris does have the edge of 105,000 for Donald Trump. You see the states that are outstanding there when we're talking about Minnesota, Pennsylvania, of course, which is the state that many thought would be the deciding factor in this race, but still North Carolina and Georgia. Those are all states that are still in play. Yeah. And now let's move on to the balance of power in Congress. First, the Senate. Republicans with the advantage going into this race because of the way the map plays itself out. Right now, they picked up 1 seat. They have 49 seats to be Democratic.
So that was quite interesting, folks. I mean, somebody leaked this footage, and you have to say to yourself, what, intentions? Was it a guy for Trump? Or was it a guy for Harris to let people sort of know? Could this be like a fake, they were doing something like this in here? I don't think so. I mean, because this is what, these cable networks and news networks, they do. They run through the scenarios, make sure that they've got their questions right, the bantering back and forth in case something happens. So it seems to be legit. But what I wanted to do was sort of go back and run through it one more time with some explanations. I saw some things there. Did you notice the thing with Iowa, folks? Remember the Iowa poll just dropped by Seltzer and company, supposedly the most, sought after pollster in Iowa, the one that's, beyond reproach. It's pretty much hits the numbers every single time. Well, they came out with their +3 when Emerson dropped theirs, which was 10.5 for Trump, and they dropped their +3 for Harris. And all of a sudden now, every leftist, every organization out there, the progressives, the Democrats, they're just absolutely going nuts. And there is some, you can see a lot of Republicans, crestfallen, going, "What's going on?" But you know what? Listen, everything is fine. Vote, 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 vote. That's what we keep telling everybody. I think that's what everybody's doing. And these polls are meant, these psyops that are happening, folks, psychological operations. This is something that they're going to continue to do. So get used to it. It's meant to demoralize you. It's meant to make you doubt. It's meant to make you doubt yourself and other people and others, that haven't voted yet and going, "Oh, wait a minute, what? Iowa? Oh, he's going to lose, And then if they can just do that to enough people, because they have nothing else that they can do. But it was something. Did you catch that? Iowa was like, what, 13, 14 points? So what I want to do is go back, play that through, share with you my thoughts in terms of what other places are going around, how they're doing these calculations. They're running their numbers too, based on early vote and projections from in the past and what they expect. So that's where they're looking at this thing here. So it's just like I said, it's if you're a Trump person, you're saying, "Wow, that's looking good." If you're Harris, I would imagine you're a little bit concerned. But again, remember, only a test. So let's go back and see what some of those numbers were. Did you notice, another thing? They're saying with 98% call, with 99% called. They want to stretch this thing out as much as possible, folks. You know that. They do not want an early victory. Well, if there was an early victory by Harris, they would love that. But they certainly don't want to be, in a night where Trump just rolls through this thing and wins it early and they can predict the winner, before midnight. They do not want that. If they did on the Harris side, they would absolutely love that. They'd have a collective political orgasm on all the mainstream networks, on all the alphabet networks, the legacy news media. They would have a political orgasm, shuddering ecstasy, unbelievable. Anyways, let's go over this clip. And I just want to sort of see for myself, what some of the variables are. So let's go to that right now.
88. Almost every election since 1988. Right now, it looks like there's a big crack. Michigan. Right here, this is really big for Donald Trump. Saginaw, Michigan. It's an area that, we have a very easy comparison. Back in 2020, Joe Biden won it.
So here they're taking a look at this and they're saying they're looking at Saginaw, Michigan. And you know what? It's really hard to hear. Obviously, the volume was kind of down. But they're showing Saginaw, Michigan, where Biden, was ahead at that time, and Saginaw County. And if Trump is ahead, they're saying it doesn't look good, for Harris because of some of these bellwether, counties.
This time it's Donald Trump. And if he does that in Michigan, it's a really good sign for him. And, we're still early in the night, but when we go back to see path to 270, here's where we are live right now. Kamala Harris only has a couple of ways to get there. Not surprised you, Pennsylvania is top of the list for her.
Well, I was going to say, can you play that out for us? What can we do a what-if scenario right now? So what if Harris were to take Pennsylvania, 2 out of the 3 of the blue wall? What if?
So obviously there's Indiana, projected winner. We all knew that.
Does she need? So if she takes Pennsylvania, that puts her at 219 electoral votes in here. I'm going to put the numbers for folks at home. You can see just what we're working with here. Got to look at this. Virginia, we expected to call this much earlier tonight. Let's assume that.
See what they said? Get to Iowa. See what they said? Virginia, he said, we expected to call this much earlier tonight. There's a poll out there now. I can't think of the company, but they put 2 polls out there. They put a poll out in Virginia, Minnesota, and in Virginia, Minnesota, and oh my goodness, I'll think of, there's so many things that's going on or whatever. But what they found was that the one in Minnesota they gave to Harris, but the one for Virginia, they have it tied at 45-45. So this is a pollster that's notably usually left, but in this instance, they're basically saying that their Virginia is tied, and according to these test results, as they're running through their permutations and combinations, the gentleman here is basically saying is that they expected to call Virginia early. Now take a look at Iowa over here. This is just a test. But 99% of the vote in, Trump's up 55-43. I mean, wasn't Kamala supposed to be up 3? According to the Ann Seltzer poll for Iowa? I mean, just throwing it out there, folks. Just throwing it out there.
Goes to her, Minnesota as well. It's been Democratic for nearly 50 years now. Then it's a toss-up. We got 4 states, Sun Belt here. You know, they've both done a lot of events here. We're giving New Mexico. That's also one we expect to go to Harris, but comes down to North Carolina, comes down to Georgia, Arizona. It's gonna be a fun night.
Yeah, she's short. She's at 247. You got to get to 270 to win it all. All right, Chuck, thank you so much. I want to turn to Ryan Nobles, who's been with us. And Ryan, you cover Capitol Hill regularly. It's your Monday through Friday beat. Thank you for being here with us, by the way, on the graveyard shift. We appreciate it. Although I think there's still a lot of people out there watching.
This is pretty incredible footage.
Tight in the presidential race, how could that impact the numbers we were just
talking about the Senate races now?
The Senate back up again, if we can. Right now at this hour, I think we said that Republicans have had a net gain of 1. It's not quite enough, but we're still waiting for some races.
I mean, okay, when we talk about the balance of power in Congress, of the 3 big things we're watching tonight, right?
So the Senate here, plus, you know, the Senate thing, they can, you know, elongate that out as well. The House of Representatives, they can do that as well. Right now, they're saying in this mock test up that the Republicans, you know, have only, you know, gained, you know, 1 seat. Anyways, let's continue with this.
Presidential race, the balance of power in the Senate, the balance of power in the House of Representatives. What we thought would play out in the Senate was the easiest to predict.
That's Maine, 99% in. Harris has got almost like a 2.4 lead.
Just because of the map that we stand in the race for president.
Look at Wisconsin here. They've got Wisconsin with Trump up. I can't see how much it is, but 99%. It looks like 99% at the bottom. He's up by over almost 2.8 with Wisconsin. So that means, you know, Wisconsin now, you know, it's fallen. Michigan's about to fall.
All important battleground states that we've been watching all night, and we are going to begin in Pennsylvania. And that's when we see a race that is too early to call. Right now,
In Pennsylvania, too early to call. Doesn't show how many inside here, somewhere inside there, maybe 98% in. 49.3 to 49%. Just amazing, folks, in Pennsylvania. Just amazing, really. Right now, okay, you're looking at 4,020, about 24,000 difference, according just to this test projection.
Trump has a slight edge over Kamala Harris, but it is too early to call.
99% in.
North Carolina, this race is too close.
Now this is too close to call. 98% in North Carolina. Again, 51.5, 46.7. I mean, you know, you're leading by almost, you know, 5 points. Too close to call, but difference of votes is 264,000 in this test.
To call. Donald Trump with the edge, about 264,000 votes ahead, 264,000 votes ahead of Kamala Harris, but not ready to call that race.
Georgia, same thing, 52%. He's up by 304,000. Again, 99% in. They don't want to call it.
Call in Georgia, Trump with the edge, about 304,000 votes, but we are not ready to pick a winner. And in Arizona, the 11 electoral votes there.
Arizona, too early to call with 99% in. They called this thing in 2 seconds in 2020 for Biden. And they were, and of course we know what the cheating and the shenanigans that went on inside there, but they would have had freaking well, they did, but you know, unfortunately, you know, these are the things that happen. No one believes the shenanigans. No one believes that anybody could have done, because that was the most secure election ever in the history of America. Yeah, right. Anyway, so here, again, up by nearly 4. in Arizona.
It's a battleground state, 99% of the vote in. Still too early to call there. Arizona crucial for Kamala Harris in this particular race. And in Virginia, this is a state that we expected to call early for the Democrats. But right now, still too close to call. Kamala Harris does have the edge of 105,000.
So here, just go back a little bit. Virginia, here in this scenario, 110,000 vote difference, too close to call, 98%. So they're being there. And the other thing is, since this was a test, I don't think that they wanted to go ahead and make those calls. But since they were at that 99, 98% range, I just happen to think, folks, that they're just trying to, they would love, as I said before, to elongate this process out, keep it going into the night. And I'm telling you what, they might not say this unless, they, actually you force them, you could mind read. But you don't think that the mainstream media is looking to have this thing go for 2 or 3 days so they can just, can you imagine the ratings that these people have? They don't give a damn about the country or whatever, what would happen. And then again, somebody has got to win this thing outright. This can't be a close election. And the best thing that we can hope for, especially for a Trump victory, is not only electoral college victory, but a national popular vote victory. So we once and for all, you put this thing to bed that, oh, you know what? Yeah, you didn't really win the election because we won the popular vote, and that's all that matters, even though we all know it's the electoral college. But that doesn't stop these leftists and progressives and liberals and Democrats from continuing to foment the same bullshit all the time to basically make it seem that, well, you know what? You don't have a mandate. The people didn't really pick you. You didn't have the national popular vote. So that's what goes on. And you've heard this over and over and over again ever since it was the last time, I believe it was Bush, that secured a popular vote victory on the Republican side. So that's just the way it goes. So very interesting, piece inside there. Let's go into some of the, some of the details of what was going behind this. So check this out, folks. So this is, again, said mock election night scenario. Early part of leak footage, as we talked about. They're breaking down a surprisingly favorable map for Trump. They're talking about the big crack in Michigan. Saginaw in particular. Joe Biden won in 2020. We talked about it. They were saying that if it's going to Trump, if he does that in Michigan, it's a good sign. Key Midwestern and Sunbelt states leaning his way. The mock analysts were expressing the importance of states like North Carolina, Arizona, and Georgia, all of which showed Trump maintaining leads. On the other hand, they said that the path forward for Kamala was increasingly narrow, only a couple of ways, and the importance of Pennsylvania. And he goes on to say, however, even with Pennsylvania, New Mexico, Minnesota, and Virginia column, she's falling short at 247, still needing 23. So it says here that the video was released by Diligent Denizen, a citizen journalist on X. Not sure how he got it, but somehow he did. And that's the way it's going so far, folks. So if this is to be believed in terms of how they did their calculations, and be interesting now to see what the buzz is in the Twitterverse, in the political sphere. Be interesting to see what different people are going to be saying that are so in tune on both camps, and getting an idea and a feel to see if anybody sort of, gives us a perspective one way or the other. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Sheikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. You all know what to do. Take a look at our video links here and there. Write your comments below. What'd you think of this thing, folks? I mean, very interesting piece of video. Much more interesting than all those damn polls that keep dropping. My final thought is always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.